You've probably felt it. That burst of energy after reading a catchy motivational quote or a trendy self-help book, followed by the inevitable crash 3 days later, when absolutely nothing in your life has actually changed. The problem with most modern self-help is that it optimizes for comfort. It hands out quick tracks and empty affirmations that feel good in the moment, but fail to address the heavy structural reasons why you remain stuck. If you want genuine clarity and resilience, there is a cost. You have to trade the comfort of your ingrained biases for rigorous cognitive labor. You have to read things that challenge your gut instincts. Upgrading your perspective is not a matter of adding a new skill. It's a structural renovation of the foundational models you use to process reality. So, we are going to leave the generic advice behind.
Instead, we are looking at 5 heavy, historically significant texts across psychology, history, and philosophy. These are not breezy weekend reads. They share a single, demanding requirement. They will force you to actively dismantle your flawed assumptions and confront the pessimistic blind spots in your worldview. We are going to decode the frameworks built by Viktor Frankl, Daniel Kahneman, Marcus Aurelius, Hans Rosling, and Yuval Noah Harari. The intellectual input required here is high, but the outcome is the acquisition of immutable mental frameworks that will govern how you navigate long-term success. We start with Viktor Frankl and his 1946 book, Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl was a psychiatrist who survived Auschwitz, and his writing was forged in the absolute extremes of human suffering. The input this book demands is heavy. It asks you to accept radical personal responsibility for your own attitude, even when facing profound, unavoidable pain that you did not choose. Frankl developed logotherapy, a psychological approach based on the premise that human beings are driven by a quest for meaning. You can find deep, buoyant purpose, regardless of the external circumstances trying to pull you down. The trade-off here is stark. This is an emotionally sobering read that systematically strips away your ability to play the victim ever again. By embracing this uncomfortable level of responsibility, you build a foundation of resilience that holds even when your environment becomes chaotic. Next is the blueprint for identifying your career and financial blind spots, Thinking Fast and Slow by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. The cognitive labor here involves studying your own mental errors. You will have to look closely at how concepts like loss aversion and framing skew your everyday choices. Kahneman breaks the mind down into 2 operators. You have an erratic, impulsive pulse he calls System 1, which handles your automatic gut reactions, and a slow, methodical, logical gear system called System 2. Implementing this framework requires a strict operational trade-off. It forces you to slow down your decision-making process and completely abandon the comfort of just going with your gut. Sacrificing that impulsive speed for deliberate, structured analysis is the most reliable path to making vastly improved strategic and financial decisions. Shifting from modern psychology to ancient philosophy, we look at Meditations, the private journal of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. The daily cognitive practice Aurelius demands is severe. You must completely sever external chaotic events from your internal reaction to them. The primary outcome of this practice is masterful emotional regulation. It acts as a shield against the endless anxieties and distractions of modern life. But the trade-off requires a massive hit to your ego. You have to completely abandon the desire to control other people, acknowledging that their actions are entirely outside your jurisdiction. Releasing control over others might feel like passive surrender at first. In practice, reclaiming all that wasted energy gives you a form of personal power that is immune to external influence. To correct a distorted, media-fueled worldview, we use Factfulness by Swedish statistician Hans Rosling as a surgical tool. The required input is active resistance. You have to constantly override deep evolutionary instincts, like our natural gravitation toward fear, negativity, and the tendency to divide the world into opposing groups. This chart shows the reality of substituting data for fear. While the public perceives global decay, actual human progress is rising steadily. This data-backed optimism helps you spot global opportunities that others completely miss. To get there, you have to willingly let go of the comforting, dramatic narrative that the world is constantly falling apart. Adopting a data-driven worldview ensures your strategy is built on measurable global progress, rather than the reactive fear driven by a negative news cycle. Finally, we zoom out to view human history purely through biological and social evolution, with *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari. The cognitive leap this book demands is recognizing that concepts like money, corporations, and national borders are not physical laws. They are simply shared fictions that humans invented to cooperate in large numbers. Seeing the world through this macro perspective allows you to navigate complex societal and business environments with absolute clarity. The heavy psychological trade-off is that deconstructing these deeply held cultural myths can easily induce a sense of existential insignificance. However, recognizing societal structures as invented fictions is the crucial first step to navigating and utilizing those structures to your advantage. Trying to read all 5 of these dense books at once is a mistake. Execution requires targeting your specific bottleneck first. This flowchart organizes your next step based on what's holding you back. Burned out? Address your emotions with Frankl or Aurelius. To mitigate blind spots, target your decisions with Kahneman. Overwhelmed by societal chaos? Address your worldview with Rosling or Harari. Identifying the right book is only the first step. Applying the rigorous mental friction they demand is what ultimately changes your reality. Thank you for taking the time to engage with deep intellectual work today. If you value this kind of rigor, make sure to subscribe. Here at Rise Standard, we build weekly guides to elevate your mind. Now, head down to the comments. Tell us which of these books you have actually read, and which changed you the most. Your shared experience in the comments might be the exact push someone else needs to discover the shift in perspective they seek.